Welcome to Cal State Fullerton's The Report with the latest news, views, and info to go. I'm Christina Rasband as Wonder Woman.
I'm Sarah Fenton as Katniss.
And I'm Jen Moynihan as a flapper.
In honor of Halloween next week, we're bringing you this special themed edition of The Report. We'll start by discussing some hot topics, including a controversial costume trend, companies offering fertility services, and pumpkin riots on the East Coast.
Beyond our discussion, we have reports on current CSUF news events, including a Dia de los Muertos celebration, midterm madness at the TSU, the fall food drive, and our latest college cooking segment.
And finally, we conclude with some local and national news on Fullerton's haunted walking tours, one town's creepy clown encounter, the death of an iconic designer, and more.
As you may have noticed, we here at The Report are also indulging in some Halloween festivities this year. So we thought we'd kick off our hot topic discussion by talking about what we love most about Halloween and our costumes.
I don't know about you, but I love getting chocolate wasted on Halloween.
Chocolate.
I mean,
Chocolate
all
wasted.
of the candy, best day of the year. I love candy.
Free candy. Do you go trick-or-treating still?
I go with my sister, and the candy that she gets is my candy too, so.
You just eat it all anyways.
Of course.
Yeah.
Why
Nice.
not?
Nice. I love pumpkin carving. It's my favorite thing to do. You know, you can create cute little spooky faces on the jack-o'-lanterns, and you can use the seeds and, roast them and have, little delicious treats. I love doing it.
I like going to the costume shops because then I start planning for next year. But then once I'm oh, I'm totally going to be this next year, by the time Halloween comes around, I've already forgotten what I'm going to be. But it's okay. It's okay. I like looking at all the different things I could decorate my house with, or going to the pumpkin patches.
Ooh,
Those
that's
are really
fun stuff.
Real fun.
And let's not forget pumpkin spice lattes.
Oh, well, yeah.
Of
My
course.
favorite drink
Obviously.
this time of year.
Yep.
Can't wait for them. Oh my gosh.
So good.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, tell them about the spiders.
The spiders, that's right. So, you guys might have noticed, we have some spiders on us. Christina has a lovely spider crawling up her tights over here.
Yep. Ooh.
Sarah has one on
mush.
her boot. I have one hidden in my necklace, and there's some other ones all throughout our set, 10 in all. Right, guys? 10?
10.
See if you can find them throughout the show. And then as for costumes, we all decided to dress up today. I am a flapper. I love the Gatsby movie, all of the books, all of the 20s era books. So I put together with just a regular black dress, my necklace, and a cute little headband from Party City. Sarah, tell me about your costume.
Well, I'm Katniss from The Hunger Games. I love the movie when it came out, just the action in it. Amazing movie. And it's pretty easy just to throw this outfit together. You can go to any store, get some nice camo colored jeans, some boots, probably have some in your closet already. Nice leather jacket, braid your hair. You got the perfect Katniss. Oh, and you can't forget the bow and arrow. Added plus.
Well, I decided to go as Wonder Woman this year. I obviously did not make my costume. I was I'm going to be a superhero this year. I've been wanting to be a superhero for many years, so I did it. I actually went on Amazon because I didn't want to spend $80 on a costume that I only get to wear
That's smart.
today and Halloween.
Exactly.
So I ended up getting it for $30, the whole costume.
Oh, wow.
Dang.
So
And it looks amazing.
steal.
We also asked students on campus to tell us about their Halloween favorites and costumes in our new Man on the Street segment. Let's take a look. So when you guys think of Halloween, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Candy.
Candy.
Candy, definitely candy.
Like pumpkin bread, probably.
Candy.
And
Definitely
pumpkins.
candy. And probably apple picking, definitely.
And if you guys could be anything for Halloween, what would you be?
A zombie.
Yeah, zombie.
I just think all the
Zombies are on the rage right now, so.
I would love to be Batman. Yeah, that would be cool.
I don't know. I'd definitely go with Captain America just because I'm definitely patriotic and definitely love the character a lot, so.
A tree. That's what I'm going to be this year. It sounds really lame and boring, but I like trees.
You guys have any spooky Halloween stories or maybe roommate horror stories that you guys can tell us about?
Well, in my family, we have the tradition in most Spanish culture families. They have the La Llorona, which is basically a woman who drowned her kids.
It was a pagan ritual for punishment, where they would put you in a house at night, around midnight, which is why it's called the Midnight Man. You will take a drop of your blood, put it on a piece of paper with your name, and then you'll put it next to a wooden door, your front door hopefully. And from there, you knock on there 22 times. The 22nd knock though has to be exactly at midnight. And once you do that, you open the door, and the Midnight Man's in your house.
To see the rest of the student interviews and more, be sure to check out our unscripted program, Titan Talks, at youtube.com/user/Titan Talks 57.
Halloween is known for costumes that poke fun at controversial issues. However, this year, some retailers may be taking things too far. According to the Associated Press, faux Ebola protective suits and Ebola zombies may be this year's Halloween costume of choice. Or at least that's what posts by some on Twitter and other sites suggest. The costume site Brands on Sale recently released its Ebola containment suit costume for around $80, complete with a face shield, breathing mask, safety goggles, latex gloves, and white suit with an Ebola logo sewn on the chest. The company's chief executive, Jonathan Weeks, said the costume photo has been shared around 7,000 times on social media, and that the company has already sold a dozen suits since its launch last week. In an interview with the Associated Press, Weeks said, quote, "We don't stray away from anything that's current or controversial, or anything like that. If I told you we had a toddler ISIS costume in the works, your mouth would drop." What are your thoughts on this Ebola virus costume trend?
Well, my mouth would definitely drop if they came out with an ISIS one.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
totally. That's kind of offensive.
But I mean, as far as the Ebola thing, I can understand people making fun of Ebola because of the horrible way that the CDC has dealt with the situation. The fact that we've had one person in the United States die from the disease already, I don't think it's probably very appropriate to have it for Halloween. Maybe next year, maybe when we have a cure for Ebola, but not right now.
Well, I feel like, I don't know, we're always making fun of things like here and there. So yeah, okay, Ebola. But like you were saying earlier that they have a Joan Rivers dead costume, right?
They do.
Like a dead Joan Rivers. Like, it's kind of funny, but I don't know if that's crossing the line or not. And you were talking about like how we sometimes like laugh about things if we feel uncomfortable with it, which
Exactly.
is true. I mean, I act the same way.
Yeah, I could see your side, but there's also the side with we all have different ways of dealing with death and with serious topics. And so this is one way. I mean, laughing about it is a pretty good way to deal with a topic, like a serious topic. It makes people comfortable about it. It helps them out. And I mean, we're not making fun of people that are dying from Ebola. I think everyone is kind of laughing about how much it's being talked about in social media, on the news. And so I think that's what we're kind of all laughing about. And last year, it was the Walking Dead or Breaking Bad hazmat costume.
True.
So I think you said people are recycling their hazmat costumes from last year and converting them to Ebola costumes.
Or at least that's what they've been saying on Twitter.
Yeah.
Who knows when Halloween hits next week.
We'll have to see.
Facebook and Apple are starting a new trend in the workplace that may have other Silicon Valley employers catching on soon. According to USA Today, these companies are offering to freeze female employees' eggs for up to $20,000. This is equivalent to 2 rounds of egg freezing procedures, or $10,000 apiece. This increase in fertility services are said to be a growing trend to recruit more long-term employees and allow women a greater chance of success in the workforce. Apple said in a statement, quote, "We want to empower women at Apple to do the best work of their lives as they care for loved ones and raise their families. Supporters say this program will empower women. Detractors say having a child later on will not be easier." What do you think about Facebook and Apple's new fertility services?
I think it's great. I mean, the people that work at these companies, they are so dedicated to what they're doing. They're working these long hours. And so for women to be able to get this, that's amazing. Like, that's great for these companies to do that and provide it for them.
Well, I think if I was working for such a big company such as Apple or Facebook, I mean, you are putting in all that time, and you know, you need to put yourself fully into that job to do and perform well. So, I mean, if they're allowing people to have kids later on in their lives, but like preserving their eggs now, like that's allowing women to actually go 100% into their job and give 100%. So I support it.
Nice. And it's about time that companies start realizing that they need to, you know, help women in the workforce so that they can compete alongside men. I think that this is such a great opportunity for women, whether or not they use the service, the fact that it's there for them, the fact that companies are actually looking out to say, hey, you know what, you can, if you don't want to start a family now because you want to focus on your career, you can freeze those eggs and work on that later. That is such a great thing for women, and I think a bunch of other companies out there should do the same.
College parties in Keene, New Hampshire got out of hand Saturday when they transformed into riots and disrupted the city's annual pumpkin festival. Drunken students from Keene State College violently began throwing bottles and rocks, overturning street signs, and flipping over cars. According to the Associated Press, New Hampshire officials arrested at least 14 people. Around 30 individuals were injured and 20 were taken to hospitals. Officials are now working to identify and punish those involved in the violence. New Hampshire Governor Maggie Hassan said in a statement, quote, "I am confident that law enforcement will continue to investigate and prosecute individuals that are responsible, and I am calling on New Hampshire colleagues and universities to take swift action and hold students involved accountable." The president of Keene State College said they were reviewing social media posted online to identify students at the riot. Those students faced suspension or even expulsion from the university. However, a representative from the Keene State College student body said this does not reflect on the behavior of all students at the university, since 200 student volunteers helped clean the damaged Sunday. Do you think social media is contributing to college parties becoming more violent?
I don't know about contributing, but I definitely think that social media helps put it out there more. I mean, if you do see a party getting out of hand like this one, and people are on the streets flipping over cars and pulling out street signs and just going crazy, I feel like people that are putting it on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, you know, they're going to want to show the most intense things that are happening because that's what's going to get the most comments or likes. So I feel like in a way it brings attention to it and it contributes to, you know, how much is being done.
Yeah, and you always see people, if there's a fight that breaks out, the first thing people do is pull out their phones.
Yeah.
I mean, that's society today. Everything is documented with a cell phone. It's easy, you pull it out, but it does also help police that are now doing the investigation. Now there's more evidence, there's photographic evidence that they can go through that's also posted on social media where they can see, okay, this person started it, this is where it happened, they're involved in it. And then there's a whole thing about do it for the vine, that saying. I mean, people are going crazy doing anything to get a like or a retweet, so I think it does contribute.
You know, with like technology getting more and more advanced, like we were talking, I think in an earlier episode, about the cameras and stuff being here in Fullerton with the police officers wearing them. I think like as technology gets more and more advanced, we're going to see like everything displayed online, and there's not going to be a filter. I mean, there already really isn't, but even more so. And so it's kind of like Big Brother is always watching. You kind of have to be careful about what you're doing, you know, because obviously if you're doing stuff like that and you're doing it for like party and like there's a lot of people there with their phones, it's obviously going to be put out there online. So you have to be careful.
Online dating is becoming more and more popular, especially with mobile applications like the Hot or Not app known as Tinder. Reporter Dylan Lujano spoke with students on campus about the app.
In the beginning, Tinder has placed an emphasis on targeting and attracting younger users. Tinder's creators launched the app at USC by throwing a birthday party for a co-founder's college-age brother and his friends. According to the Huffington Post, co-founder of Tinder, Justin Mateen, initially tested the Tinder app on 10 college campuses. Now the app has over 68% of users between the ages of 18 and 24. With a 4 out of 5 star rating in the Apple App Store, it looks like Tinder users just can't get enough. But is Tinder helping or hurting our society's views on our personal relationships?
People use it as a game, and it's fun, it's easy, it's simple, it's basic. People can just flip through people's faces and just judge people like in their living room by themselves, you know? I don't really know how you can control it. It's signing up for the app, you don't really know what you're going to get getting yourself into.
According to the co-founder, Tinder makes meeting people more efficient, and there's no fear of rejection since you only know when you've been liked and not when you've been passed.
It's definitely based upon like appearances and what people think. Like you literally swipe left or right based on whether you think someone looks good, and then maybe you'll read their tagline. So I think, yeah, it definitely kind of ruins the whole meaningfulness behind why you're initially attracted to someone.
With online dating becoming more and more popular, apps like Tinder have joined the ranks, among other services like Match.com. Users of Tinder mention that it's a sort of antidote to a claustrophobic dating scene. But in this age of digital technology and instant gratification, a potential date is only a swipe away. In Fullerton, I'm Dylan Luhano reporting.
Do you think this app can actually help someone find the one?
Okay, so I have a story about this. I've used it myself. It was a couple years ago, and I had kind of fallen for somebody, but it didn't seem like they really wanted a relationship. It was more of a how would you put it?
A hookup.
A hookup, thank you. Yes, and so I personally don't have good experience with this app, but my roommate, she started using the app like 7 months ago, and now she's been with her boyfriend for like 4 months. They're talking about moving in together. They talk about how much they love each other, and they're adorable. So it goes case by case, like you were saying. So I don't know. I support it if you're going to be open and honest about what you want.
So clearly, like we were discussing earlier, a case-by-case basis. I mean, there is eHarmony out there, there's Christian Mingle, there's a couple of other dating sites out there. So for people who are looking for relationships online, for serious relationships online, I feel like it might help them. For people who aren't looking for that, you know, I don't know if you could say it's going to help them find the one. But you also kind of have to worry about situations where, you know, you have the wrong kind of people out there that are stalking individuals that, you know, will end up needing law enforcement to get involved. So I guess it just differs.
Well, here's the thing, though. On an app like Tinder, I'm not sure about the other app, but Hot or Not, I'm not sure about that one. But on Tinder, you can't talk to somebody unless they've liked you back. So if you like someone, as long as they've liked you back, then you can initiate talking to one another and actually like get to know them. But the thing is on Tinder, it syncs up with your Facebook. So
they get to see all your photos?
Well, some of them. I mean, you can go in and edit, but like at least all your likes and stuff are going to be honest based on your Facebook, unless you're just going to make up a fake Facebook account and then sync it to your Tinder. Like, I don't think people are going to go that.
Well, there can be those people.
I mean, I guess.
You never know.
You get
the internet. With Catfish, I mean, if you've seen the show, you can get those people. But at the same time, you'll get both people, especially on Tinder. And some people are very open about it, too. Some of the Tinder profiles, I guess you'll call it, some say, I'm just here for the hookup. And so if you want that, then go ahead and like them.
I respect it. At least you're honest.
At least you're being up,
I don't want to deal with like finding out later on. You know? That's just,
There's both sides to it, so I mean, it just depends on who you find on there, and good luck to you.
And are they the one?
Yeah.
Derek Phillips is back this week with another college cooking segment. He'll give us some tips on how to create your own festive Halloween treats. Let's take a look.
Thanks, Jen. With the Halloween holiday rapidly approaching, we often find ourselves either invited to Halloween parties or throwing them ourselves. Well, today I have 4 different recipes that are definitely going to help you out and make your party the party of the century. First, we're going to start with the witch's hand. The witch's hand is pretty simple to do. First, we're literally just going to take our hand and put it right on top of the meat. And then we're going to very carefully cut between our fingers, and that's going to give the witch's hand its fingers on its own. Now we're going to make sure that we definitely use a very sharp knife. Most of the time in the kitchen, when you have injuries, it's because the knife was dull as opposed to sharp. So once we've got the fingers separated, we're actually going to go ahead and put it in an egg bath real quick so that our breadcrumbs will stick to it very well. And right here, basically all I have for my egg bath is just one egg beaten pretty well. We'll drop it right back here. And then I sprinkle very liberally the breadcrumbs right on top of it. And then I make sure that they get in basically everywhere you can possibly think of in this witch's hand. That way it looks as gnarly as possible. When you cook it up, it's going to come out and look really gross and is going to be a centerpiece garnish. So it's not necessarily something that we're going to eat later on, although it is still edible. Up next, I'm going to do something that we like to call mummy dogs. And mummy dogs are pretty simple to do. In fact, you can see that I've got some right here. But basically, to make a mummy dog, we're going to take crescent rolls and we're going to cut them into strips. And then we're going to simply take a hot dog and we're going to wrap it up like a mummy. So you'll take your crescent roll, and as you grab it, you'll notice it stretches, which is actually okay, because the more wraps you have around it, the more like a mummy it looks. Of course, you're going to end up using several of them to wrap it up. And we just kind of keep going around. And as we get close to the top, we'll get that with our third strip here. And then we'll have to make a little bit of a room for the mummy's face, because of course mummies have to breathe. And basically at that point, you throw it in the oven at 350 degrees for about 12 minutes. My next recipe are very yummy donut spiders. Basically, you take a little chocolate donut like we have here, and you put his legs in. Now the legs are made up of the loopy part of a pretzel. And you just cut those out and push them right into the pastry right here. And it makes it look a little bit spider-like. And then after we're done with the pretzels, our next step is to give him some eyes. Now what I'm going to use is chocolate-coated hard-covered candies. And I'm going to use just a little bit of icing that I have left over. And I'm going to put a drop on it. And just affix it right there as an eye. Once we're finished with that, we can just put it right there on the board. Outstanding. Now finally, one of my favorite things for the Halloween holiday is a little bit of witch's brew. And witch's brew is very easy to make. Simply take your favorite punch and you put some dry ice in it. Now, it's very important to be careful with your dry ice. You shouldn't touch it with your bare hands because it's very cold. But at any rate, you take your dry ice, you drop it right into your punch, and it begins to boil. I am Derek Phillips, and remember, flavor is fortunate if it is bold.
And now let's switch over to the campus events of the week. The Chicano Studies Alliance is kicking off this month's holiday festivities during an all-day celebration of Dia de los Muertos on October 29th from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Take part in festive workshops, face painting, and enjoy live music in the Humanities main quad. Musical guests featured during the event will include mariachi bands at 1 and 5 p.m. At the close of the event, a traditional candlelight vigil will also be held.
Students, there's no denying it, midterm season is finally here. In order to help with the studying and reduce some of the stress, ASI is hosting a Midterm Madness event in the TSU until October 27th. Refreshments, study supplies, and fun activities will be available until 2 a.m. each night of the event. Also, be sure to stop by the TSU today at 11 a.m. for an ice cream giveaway. Good luck on those exams, Titans.
Cal State Fullerton is hosting its annual fall food drive this month. Support those in need this holiday season and donate canned food or dry goods at any red bin on campus or at the Irvine campus Student Affairs office. All donations will benefit those participating in the Families Forward program. This event runs until November 20th, and remember, every donation counts.
Members of the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute celebrated the organization's 35th anniversary in a surprising and spontaneous event on campus last week. Titan TV reporters Stephanie Perez and Jacob Barrios have the story.
so cool. I had no idea what was going on. I heard it from like the other side of campus, and I was like, oh, I wonder what's going on over there.
This is the happy song. We're just trying to show how fun it is to be alive at, in my case, 75.
I don't know, it made me like smile, like seeing all the elderly people like having fun, like dancing, like it brightens up your mood, you know.
And the goals are to keep physically fit, to keep intellectually stimulated, and to keep our socialization going. So this is one of the ways we do it.
Our goal was just to come out here and have a good time and hope that, yes, some people would come, but the turnout was great. We are young in spirit, and we got people in canes and wheelchairs and stuff like that, but there's a huge group of us that are, we're still continuing life because we're on borrowed time more because we're older, but just to enjoy life.
Over 40,000 students from 40 different colleges came together earlier this month for the 29th Annual Friendship Games, hosted by the Filipino American Student Association at Cal State Fullerton. Students chanted, danced, and participated in various competitions to win the coveted Spirit, Pride, Unity, and Friendship Trophy. According to the association's website, the Friendship Games was founded at CSUF in 1985 and is one of the longest student-run events in the nation. For more information about the Filipino American Student Association or how to become a member, visit csufpasa.com.
Suicide attempts on campus are becoming more frequent at the east side parking structure. Most of them are not being committed by students. Reporter Samantha Galarza has more on this story.
Think finding a spot is the only issue for Cal State Fullerton parking structures? Think again. In the past 2 months, both a man and a woman leaped from the east side parking structure. Though crowded on the weekdays, the structures are vacant on the weekends, making it easier to go unnoticed. Security cameras were installed in 2012 on the northeast and southwest side of the structure, but only prompt action and strict surveillance can prevent this irreversible jump. Aside from the cameras, there are emergency poles at the top. No other preventative methods are present.
Rails that they can't climb over easily, then I guess that'd improve it, but it doesn't look really pretty though. It kind of ruins, it makes it feel like you're in prison or something, I guess.
Since 2010, 5 people have attempted suicide from the parking structures, and none of them were students.
It isn't great feeling that knowing that people come to this one, to our school to jump off, but I feel like it's the highest point around this area, so it's an easy access and there's not much stopping people from jumping here.
The open architecture and convenient access to these structures, particularly east side, have made it easy for people to take this tragic leap. Despite the fact that there have been 2 jumps in the past 2 months, hopefully preventative methods can curb any future efforts. For the report, I'm Samantha Galarza.
And now we'll switch over to some updates in the local news. The Fullerton Museum Center is back this year to host its Haunted Fullerton Walking Tours event. Reporter Lauren Gross has the story.
Things are getting spooky in downtown Fullerton just in time for the Halloween season thanks to the Fullerton Museum Center. The center has brought back their popular haunted walking tours now through November 6th alongside the North Orange County Paranormal Society. The haunted tour is preceded by a meet and greet with members of the Paranormal Society to help participants prepare for their potential ghostly encounters. And of course, don't forget to bring your sense of humor.
Do you want to play?
Various downtown locations are visited, and some business owners even share their paranormal tales. But while the tour focuses on the supernatural, it also serves other purposes. An $18 prepaid registration is required to take the haunted walking tour, and guides say in previous years the tours have been full with living and non-living participants. In what seems to be a horror movie come to life, Bakersfield police have filed nearly 20 reports in the last 2 weeks of clowns roaming the streets after dark, wielding weapons. Pranksters are said to be imitating Wasco the Clown, a husband and wife art project from a small community in San Joaquin Valley, and have taken to city streets carrying weapons including machetes, baseball bats, and even a gun in order to scare residents. An Instagram account created on October 6th by the group called Wasco Clown has gained nearly 47,000 followers. Bakersfield Police Sergeant Joseph Grubbs assured residents that they are taking the incident seriously because of its dangerous potential, saying, quote, "We will make arrests on this. We want this to stop." According to the LA Times, one teen in costume was arrested last week for harassing a minor, leaving them visibly shaken. However, he was not carrying a weapon at the time of the incident.
The Los Angeles Times filed a lawsuit against the Orange County Register last week, citing the Register's breaching contract and failure to pay delivery fees of around $2 million. Excerpts from the lawsuit state that the Register has been late on its payments since April 2013. According to the LA Times, officials at the Times notified those at the Register that the delivery contract would default if the paper failed to pay within 30 days. The Register then reportedly broke the terms of the agreement by hiring another distributor. The LA Times has had the exclusive right to deliver the OC Register since 2009. This switch caused problems on October 4th when many subscribers failed to receive their papers on time, if at all. Aaron Kushner, the publisher and owner of the Register's parent company, Freedom Communications, was replaced last week by former casino owner Richard Mearman. Legal damages from this lawsuit could exceed $4 million.
Los Angeles police are investigating a so-called ghost car scheme. Inspector General for the Police Commission, Alex Bustamante, found evidence that at least 5 of the LAPD's 21 divisions have been falsifying records to make it appear that officers were patrolling city streets when they were not. This happened when officers were found to have been logged on to the department computers and recorded as being on patrol, but were actually at the police station filing out paperwork or handling equipment out to officers. The issue is reported to have stemmed from police requirements that mandate a minimum number of officers on patrol for each shift. Officer Mark Cronin, who is the director in the Police Protective League, says this has been happening for years.
And now we'll take a look at some of the latest news here in the U.S. and abroad. South African track star Oscar Pistorius was sentenced to 5 years in prison on Tuesday, nearly a month after he was convicted of culpable homicide for the death of his girlfriend Riva Steenkamp. Prior to the sentencing, Pistorius' defense team argued that his status as a double amputee made him unfit for prison and asked that he be placed on house arrest instead. According to the Washington Post, Judge Masipa said in a statement, "I am of the view that a non-custodial sentence would send the wrong message to the community, but a long sentence would not be appropriate because it would lack the elements of mercy." However, despite his 5-year jail sentence, it was reported that Pistorius will be eligible to apply for house arrest or potential parole in 10 months.
Canadian officials believe 1 or more gunmen were responsible for the shooting at the county's capital today. 1 military guard was shot at the National War Memorial, followed by multiple rounds fired at the Parliament building in Ottawa. Members of the Canadian Parliament and Prime Minister Stephen Harper are the suspected targets of the attack. They were meeting in a room just 60 feet away from the reported shooting at the building. Police officers that rushed to the scene said the shooting had the appearance of a coordinated attack. Prime Minister Harper and members of the cabinet were escorted from the scene by Secret Service personnel. Government officials still inside the Parliament building and other individuals in nearby buildings remain on lockdown. According to the New York Times, this shooting came just after an incident 2 days earlier where a radical attacked military personnel at a mall in Montreal and killed just one.
Fashion designer Oscar de la Renta passed away in his Connecticut home Sunday at the age of 82. The Dominican-born designer was known for his business in perfume, accessories, furniture, and fabulous clothing. De la Renta was the first Latino to become successful in the Parisian-dominated design houses. Once he gained American citizenship, De la Renta also became the first American to design for a French couture house. His colorful and vibrant designs have been donned by first ladies including Nancy Reagan and Hillary Clinton, and red carpet celebrities from Sarah Jessica Parker to Jennifer Hudson. On his 40th birthday, De la Renta told a representative for a 1978 designer survey, quote, "If my life were to end now, I would have no regrets. I've lived every day to the fullest, and I've had a marvelous time."
Well, that's all we have on this Halloween edition of The Report. Join us next time for more up-to-date news, views, and info to go. Thank you. I'm Christina Razban.
I'm Sarah Fenton.
And I'm Jen Moynihan. Stay alive, Fullerton.